Hey guys, do me a solid in the chat if you can hear me and the stream is buffering, is not buffering for you. Just sound off real quick. Um, yeah, I'm way late. Not ideal, but as you might be able to tell by the stream, I was having a little bit of technical difficulties and I really didn't want it to fuck up the work that I put in for this one. So I was hacking it out, so hopefully it paid off. But if everything's working for you guys okay, then we'll go ahead and start the show. Okay, awesome, guys. We'll get started. Thanks. Woof, it's a little slow on the draw there. Didn't quite pause it in time, my bad. But hello and welcome to VKH Live, special Yeti stream. I'm your host, Jeff DeWitt. I do apologize again for the delay. Yeah, as you can see, the overhauling of the stream continues, and the upgrades continue, and the aesthetic continues, and I wanted to keep that going. I didn't want to have to like fall back when I was like running into some issues, so I've been kind of working all day trying to make this look as nice as possible. Yetis are actually, this is going to surprise some of you because some of you more regular viewers, maybe, unless you've talked to me in DMs, or I talked about it in Discord and wasn't aware. Don't remember it, but Yeti's actually a really special band to me personally, and to a lot of us at VKH. We all have very fond memories of Yeti. A lot of us fell out of, lost touch with them basically when they switched YouTube channels. That was like a big thing. That kind of was a bait and switch for a lot of people, I suppose. Not a bait and switch for like a. Well, yeah, it just kind of, it came out of nowhere, and we weren't aware of where they had gone. We ended up finding them later, and I'll get into like this, covering that because it's curious, but. Yeti is kind of my first memory of like the members of a really big band, or at least the vocalist, of a really big band, uh, going off and doing his own thing in like the most super indie way, like that was Yeti for us back in the day. Yeti, so it's kind of inspiring to see, and the music was always lovely, and fun and catchy, and I've been doing a lot of research for this one. I've been doing a lot of catching up, because Yeti caught up, and we have some things to talk about here, because I mean, I won't spoil it too much, but I kind of loved everything I've heard that I hadn't heard over the last year and a half, 2 years. So, but we'll get into that shortly. So I have these two logos up here on the screen. So the one on the right is actually Yeti's current logo. The one on the left is going to be the one that those of you who are finding this stream and weren't aware that Yeti is in fact still around and has been around, you're going to be familiar with the little mountaintop with the moon and the path kind of logo here on the left, from their first 3 or so mini albums that they put out. It was very iconic. It was like a very like a smart graphic designer branding person like gave some solid input there. And then since then, they have, it's gotten even more, it's still very like, it's technically even more, I don't know what you would call it, structural shape based. Winona's probably cringing as she hears me try and describe designer things, but graphic designer things. But yeah, just brings back memories. We're going to cover a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new. We're going to go through as much of this as possible. Quick note on the Mamiretta stream. I will probably just let this stream play out as long as it needs to take. I wasn't planning on it being a very, very long stream, but I'm going to do my due diligence on this one, and then we'll start Mamiretta when we start Mamiretta, and then and then we'll do Kizu after that. So, but yeah, so let's go ahead and unbox the chat, and see what everybody's up to. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see. See, YouTube has this little annoying message. Guys, make fun of me a little bit in the chat so that it scrolls up more. Let's see. There it goes. Yeah, it's funny. So I don't know if you see this. Welcome to live chat. Remember, well, you have to. I'm looking at the stream recording, so this is on the stream right now. But welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. So chat, don't forget. I know you're grown adults, but don't dox yourself in our chat, please. And behave. As if you are a mature adult. I guess YouTube thinks that's a foreign concept for you. So, I wouldn't let, I don't know if you're going to take that kind of talking down to from YouTube, you guys, but, yeah, I saw a lot of streamers commenting on it. They were like, what kind of weird parenting shit is this? All right, what's going on in here? Oh wow, okay, yeah. I like this waiting screen. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I found snow for Yeti. VKH Live's co-host tech issues. Yeah, well, so what's exciting though is that I I've actually uh, I've I've made some headway, and you'll see it as the week stretches out, and the program unfolds and kicks into gear. There was a key battle. Multiple key battles were won over the course of last night and today. Uh, um, so that co-host position may be vacant again, and just in time for when Winona gets back. Instead of Jesus take the wheel, it's tech issues take the wheel. Yep. Just fighting for the wheel. We'll behave ourselves, maybe. You can go wild, fam. You can do whatever you want in your chat. It's just, or in our chat, I don't care. You never know. You could steal your credit card number on VKH Live's chat. Yeah. You never know. I will clarify. You can go wild in our chat, but I can't guarantee what YouTube will do. So, things that you might think would be, I don't know. I hear they censor a lot of stuff automatically. So, Asako was brave and tested some of it the other night. It seemed to be still better than Twitch was the assessment. So, all right. Anyway, now what's how can I describe Yeti for people who've never heard of them? I think it's actually really interesting to know the context of who Yeti of like where some of the members of Yeti came from, especially the vocalist. So let me pull up a little bit of that information. Let's see. Thought I had it up here. So, yes, I did have it up here. It's hiding from me. Yeah, so we will go ahead and maybe pull up some pictures of the artist in the meantime, as I kind of intro these guys. Let's see. All right, here we go. I have to say this is my favorite picture of them in costumes. It's good stuff, guys. Quality content. So, like legitimately, like I remember them taking all these cutesy, goofy photos. A lot of them you're seeing right now. So yeah, this is Yeti. The big one is Suzuki Satoshi, who oh, you're getting ahead of me, chat. Is oh, girl doing shots fired, ex Visual K disaster. So this guy, he used to be Emiru, the vocalist of Eichel. And for those of you who don't know, Eichel was a very pivotal, I guess you would say, Osharike band. Years back, like late 2000s, I guess, early 2010s, was when they disbanded. Yeah, early 2010s, because Yeti started around 2012, 2013, I believe. Now, unlike Yeti, Eichel was very heavily Visual K. This is almost more of they started with like essentially a soft K look, like Plastic Tree, like you're seeing here. And they've gotten even softer in some cases, I think, in the more recent PVs. I don't know, guys, you can tell me if you think like 2018 Yeti is still Visual K or not. I was seeing less and less makeup for a time, but you never know. But regardless of that, Eichel, Emiru's former band, and the band where he drummed up a lot of hype that he brought with him into Yeti, into starting Yeti, they were wild. They were quite wild. They were wild and fun and train wrecks, not like, or disaster or train wreck is not like the worst way to describe them. You can mean it as a compliment. You can look up Eichel. It's spelled Aicle, and then the big PV, and surprisingly, they, as old as they were, they had their own independent official YouTube channel that's still up. If you look for Psycho X Letter, that's going to be the PV you're going to look for. So look at this like soft-spoken looking like soft K guy here. The vocalist is it's this guy with the black hair in all of these, Emiru, and then go maybe watch some Yeti PVs as well. And at their channel is called Yeti Official Channel, by the way. Maybe and then go watch Psycho X Letter by Eichel, and you're gonna see like a night and day thing. You won't believe it's the same person. I've had multiple people tell me this, even like just while I was prepping for this stream and talking about it in Discord and things like that. They're like, yeah, I had no idea that they were the same people until I looked it up. But they were catchy, they were funky, they were weird and kind of like savage in a really rainbow colorful way, all at once, I guess, is the general gist of it. I kind of listened to like their hits for the most part. I came in on the tail end of them and was like just searching back through their music and I was like, I'm down with this. But then I got towards their later PVs and I was like, oh, they're kind of petering out here a bit. So by the time they disbanded and it was definitely time for a change. And you could actually, it's funny because, as like toned down as their look is, it wasn't completely surprising to me because, the Eichel that everybody remembers the most is like Emiru has this long, crazy, just really crazy anime spiked is like an under is like a, it's not exaggerated enough to describe how crazy anime spiked this dude's rainbow ass hair was. It was like it was like if someone drew like a manga out of like Roy's, but like exaggerated the angles like into like an art style like how there's like more lifelike anime and then there's like panty and stocking. It's like someone did a panty and stocking manga redrawing of Roy's and then like dumped a bunch of colors all over his hair. There's really no effective way to describe it. Like just go look it up. But as they were kind of getting towards the end of their career, they were starting to tone down their look and their style and everything like that. So this whole long preamble is to kind of set the context for what launched Yeti. Because when Yeti came out, we were all about it. It was just such a, they came out with this first PV that, they would go on to be known for making like lighter music and this first PV they put out was, it was a little bit harder, but at the same time you could tell it was like they were having fun. It was a lot softer in terms of the way he was, in terms of the way like Emiru, for example, was delivering his voice and, and then the visuals in the PV, it was just completely toned down and they're just like playing around with little, X's and O's and shapes and stuff like that. You could tell where this band was going, but then at the same time, it was like this bouncing kind of like hard rock sound that with like just like a really old school kind of raw guitar riffs, like punk guitar riffs almost like a garage band sound. And it just came off really fresh to people. Like, at least to those of us at VKH at the time and people around us and stuff like that. So, and people just really liked it. There wasn't a lot of that. And they were very quick about putting out music as well. They put out their first mini album, their second mini album. They were both quite quick. They put, their second PV Monochrome was like an intentionally lighter song. But people were like completely into it regardless, because like, I mean, one, people were coming from Eichel, which was already kind of light, just kind of crazy at the same time. And then like two, it's Visual K anyway. Nobody cares when the sound changes. Really, we're kind of all past that point and kind of at the point where it's like, well, if the spirit of the band lives on, then then that's fine. They can go do the crazy Visual K thing. It just sounds a whole bunch across multiple projects or even the same project. You guys, those of you who are Visual K fans, you know how it is. You know what's up in that regard. But it's just this really fresh feeling of like this really fresh take on like lighter music. And I think what I figured out what it was is that they were hitting a mark between like soft K, which is generally used to describe bands like Plastic Tree, who's really soft, and then like some kind of like alt rock that you really hear in the instrumentation. Yeti doesn't just make light, soft songs that are, and like their songs aren't easy to play. And later on in their career, they're not just like easy to produce either. They are very from very early on. Like the first PV EA or IE, however you want to say it. That was that was like they nailed like the personality of the rawness of that sound. You could make the case that one was fairly simple, I guess, although not everyone can pull that sound off. But then like the next PV track that they put out, which caught a lot of views as well at the time, was Monochrome, which Gula says is her absolute favorite. It's up there for me. It's probably my first or second favorite too. Well, I don't know. I might have new favorites after now that I'm caught up on most of their new stuff. I gotta go back and reassess. We'll get to that. It was just very fresh at the time. Like now, there's like a lot of different bands that are trying a lot of fresh stuff with light sounds. I think larger bands like Mook moving into that space of really, really stepping into being like a lighter sounding band, but being like, how can we make something fresh and interesting? Like that's kind of encouraged other bands as well, in the time since 2013 when Yeti started. I'm trying to think of other examples, but it was just really cool to see a band like Yeti 5 years ago, like come out with this fresh sound and, like a fresh look that very clearly conveyed almost like a we're an indie band, vibe. And for some reason it didn't come off as like, I mean, to me, it didn't come off as like, oh, we're ditching our Visual K look and we're selling out, like that kind of thing. It was like, no, we're like reducing our Visual K look by 99% and emphasizing the talent, like the musical talent. And I was, and it was like, damn, and then all of that, coming off so well, the PV concepts being so simple, but so, fun to listen to, the songs being soft and seeming simple, but then like being complex enough to like engage you, and all of this being done as an indie band, and they're on their like own YouTube channel. It's like not on like a record label channel or like anything like that. Like that's how they started. And so at the very least, like, their PV tracks and stuff were something that I really was into at the time. A lot of their music is very light and soft. So for me, you guys know me, I'm kind of picky about that stuff. And at the time, I think I was even pickier. So when I start hearing, a bunch of, soft K, basically, it's all in a row, like on a mini album, it starts to flow together for me. And I kind of space out. I have my tolerance for that has gone way up, though. That's what I've learned listening through Yeti's full discography. And Yeti has gotten better and better and better about keeping people engaged and just coming up with 1,000 different ways to do soft K and throw and pepper in enough stuff to keep people more and more engaged. People like me that are like lazy listeners when it comes to soft music, basically. It's just ADHD. It's like I'm not. Yeah, it's just. But blame it on like 8 different character flaws, I would imagine. But yeah, that's about where I'm at. But so yeah, I guess that's a general overview of like where like of my familiarity with Yeti up until they kind of disappeared for us. And what we ended up coming to find out is that they apparently, I guess, had moved to a different YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is called Film Stars Inc. And they had continued putting out, they've continued putting out music this entire time. So if you're watching this and you're like, Yeti, I remember that band, they're not disbanded. There's been a lot of bands that have disbanded, and Yeti as like the, you know, that has the image of like the, you know, the you know, clean cut, soft K, you know, intelligent and fresh kind of band. That seems like just like because there is no God or fairness or karma in the world, that just seems like the kind of visual K band that would disband, you know, like the good ones, you know, they always get the good ones. But no, they didn't. It's just they disappeared over to this channel called Film Stars Inc. And I'm pulling it up right now, and Film Stars Inc. has 712. There's a reason I'm harping on this, by the way, and I will get to the music in a second. But Film Stars Inc. has 712 subscribers. Yeti's original channel that they had started on, believe it's Yeti channel official. I can type. Do. Yeah. Okay. They have 5.1K subscribers, and so that seems like a bit of a measly difference right now. But what you need to understand is that Film Stars Inc. has been around a little, you know, a couple years less than Yeti's official channel was around. They were originally hosting smaller bands like London Rats. I'm imagining that's like London Rats, but like London Rats. And Over the Dogs. So really tiny, like, if I remember correctly, you know, yeah, these look like bands that kind of give off that, you know, fresh indie band vibe in their look, at least. But the thing is, over the last 3 years, was it the last 3 years? Yeah, over the last 3 years, Yeti's been putting out their videos through, or 2 years, sorry. Over the last 2 years, Yeti's been putting out music videos. They've been putting out live sessions, and all of their official stuff that was going up on their official Yeti channel. They've been putting it out fairly periodically over the course of 2 years. I'm seeing a lot of videos here, and they didn't post anything to their original channel until a week ago. Prior to a week ago, they posted the music video for If, which is from their fourth mini album. For context, they're on their seventh mini album now, and they also had a full length album drop. So it was very strange to like kind of see what was going on. And as you might expect, you know, you look at you compare the ratio of subscribers, 712 to 5.1K. Well, you're also looking at a huge dip in views from their PVs. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Like I'm looking at let me pick the top rated one out of or the most viewed one on Filmstars Inc. The most viewed video on Filmstars Inc. is actually by Rondon Rats. That's okay. Okay, so the most viewed is Uso by Yeti, which is good. That's what I was looking for. So that's the most viewed Yeti one. It's Uso, and that's from their fifth mini album. So that's 2 years ago. 3 years ago, they put out that If music video. It's got 31K views. Okay. So, and I get that the Yeti one had 5K and the Film Stars one has 700. But like that's a 14,000K difference in views, and it's like I'm not gonna sit here and do like imaginary YouTube algebra that nobody understands how it works and stuff like that. But like my point is like something happened when they switched over to like having their content coming out from like I guess a lesser known and less independent channel. Because they like everybody lost track of them. Like I'm talking like industry people, I'm talking like people at VKH. So I'm really happy to be doing this stream and just bringing it up because there's a solid 2.5 years of music that a lot of us, I suspect, have missed out on. I missed out on a lot. And I've been through it, so I can tell some of you guys and you guys in chat, those of you who have been following Yeti all these years or found them recently and have like kind of dug through their stuff, you can feel free to share your own favorite songs and everything. But I just thought it was an interesting tale, I suppose, of some sort of indie band struggle clearly going on there. There's like the music itself is excellent. Still it's gotten better. It's gotten even better. But like and the video and the videos are just like even the ones that seemed like the most low budget because some of these seemed kind of like it was like they were going really indie, they were at least like, shot well, put together artistically, and they vibed with the, the vibes of the songs from what I've seen. There's that really cool animated one as well, right? I hear a lot of people giving good thoughts on that. I've listened to the song itself more than I've actually heard it. Wait, that it makes sense. More than I've watched it. That is, what is that, 6th mini album? Is that Mujuryoku? Is that what we're looking at, I believe? Yeah. I think so. What's the Romanji looking like here? Give it to me straight. No, it's not looking like that. It's Hoeru. Excuse me. Getting my Yeti tracks mixed up on the same mini album. Hoeru, the first track off of the 6th mini album, Howl. Yeah, like that's a really good song. It's a really good PV. Um, and it's just a damn shame that, like I'm looking at this stuff and like feeling like it deserves much more views, like extra zeros tacked on and stuff like that. So, um, you know, got Lord only knows what happened exactly, but I'm glad they're back. They're back on their main channel. I think at this point, I don't know, whatever they were doing before was working really well. And what's nice is that, so like when they first disappeared, the way I noticed like they disappeared was I was not able to keep finding their music on Spotify. Their upload stopped after the third mini album, I believe. This is back in the day. And I guess at some point, either this year or last year, maybe one of you guys can fill me in if you actually know like the exact time. They actually put up their entire discography, and their discography is a joy to listen to. So and when you listen to it, it's like you're going through like this entire trance of stuff. It's really of like light soft K and just enough variety to like keep you listening along. I will probably use it as like nap time music in certain situations. But not in like the this is boring kind of thing, but like I need something that will legitimately soothe me and calm me down. And the reason I lose interest or get distracted isn't because like I'm from like a lot of soft music, is because like I'm usually like too hyper and like looking around for like, heavy music usually keeps me focused, but really soothing, good, soft K music like Yeti turns out is mesmerizing to everyone. So, let's see. Wow, Jeff, literally sleeping on Yeti. Oof. Girl with the killer chats tonight. Yeah, basically. I would sleep on Yeti. I'm sleeping on Yeti tonight for sure. And I mean it as the highest form of compliment. So yeah, I guess I kind of dove into the general overview of Yeti and just kind of expounded on that, but I'll go ahead and double back and talk about the members real quick. So like beyond just the vocalist, so the vocalist used to be his name is Suzuki Satoshi. He used to be in Aiko, like I said, as Emiru. And by the way, unfortunately, it's very difficult to come by individual artist photos or individual band member photos for Yeti. I feel like they've put them out, like they had to have, but it's possible they didn't because we were covering them quite closely back in the day, before they kind of, but before they kind of fell off the map, fell off the buzz or whatever. Like I described earlier, but I'm not. Literally all I'm seeing is band photos, so I'm gonna have to like just generally describe each band member as opposed to like the thing I did for the Zaza stream. So, okay, so guitarist is Aramaki Yukihisa. He was previously in Umbrella, which I thought was interesting. Umbrella's a good band. Is a very good band. They run quite parallel to Yeti in terms of like the vibe they put off, I would say. They're much softer and more melancholy, I guess. Would they're quite good. They're very good. They've been around for a while. They're just like this slow burner, like genuine, like feels like an indie band, indie Visual K band, except they're signed to Danger Crew. They're like a career indie band, a career sad song indie band. So kind of seeing where the talent's coming from. Now, then I believe the drummer was this is where I have to consult my go back into deep lore of VKH articles and archives and make sure I've got this right for Yeti. I believe they lost their drummer. Let's see here. But yeah, the Umbrella, the guitars, previously being an Umbrella, I thought was it explains some things, at least at the start. No, they lost a guitarist. Let's see. This is the other thing that's like, okay, so this Yukihisa guy that started with them, he ended up leaving. So, yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes, if there's a founding member that has a strong influence on the band at the start, the influences persist. But I would say that Yeti has been consistently upbeat, and it's just they just put off like the indie vibe. I wouldn't like compare them to Umbrella in any way beyond that. It's just I feel like fresh indie band describes both of them, but then their sounds are like quite different. Umbrella's basically like if you like Plastic Tree, try Umbrella. Yeah, I would say so. If you like Plastic Tree and you don't want to put up with maybe like the anime single that they made, you just want to go back to whimsical melancholy stuff, I think that's when you that's when you stick to Umbrella. Is that too much shade for me to throw at a Plastic Tree? Just a joke, but yeah, I mean the drummer Issei, the drummer of Dimlim, left Dimlim, and then Dimlim started sounding more like the previous band of the guy that left them. So you could see the influences kind of persisting if you're like a founding member and you had a big-handed songwriting, and then you bounce. But Yeti's like the warm sunshine side of the Umbrella. They're like the sun after the rainstorm. I don't know why I'm waxing poetic. Honestly, I'm just in a very relaxed mood from listening to like a whole bunch of Yeti music. Speaking of which, we can actually switch over and talk about their music a bit. Because I got some stuff to say. Or just like a bunch of general. I listened through the entire discography, up through. I guess I'm a few tracks. No, did I get through all the tracks? I think I got through all the tracks. Yeah. Never mind. I finished listening to all of them like right as I was running late for this stream, and then I was still late. So like, I was like, yes, right on time, but no, it's still late. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and we'll switch over to the music catalog. See if this will. Let's see how you guys like my new display. So first things first, we have all right, now I definitely need to have my notes for this. So Here we go. I'm going to be running the pronunciation gauntlet too. So back in 2013, this is what they started out with. This was their first mini album. It's Kate no Jijo. Yeti was... That was another thing that Yeti was like one of the first ones to do that actually ended up becoming a really funny trend among indie visual K bands, was like constantly releasing like only mini albums. Yeti was like one of the big ones that was doing that at the time. I don't think any of the other bands like Dataroma or like Razor does it now. There's a lot of indie VK bands that are just doing mini album, which is fine. It's just kind of funny as someone who's used to like being like used to seeing like a like multi-single cycle and then like an album and you know and then like a separate album following it, or like yeah, just like different like more standard combinations, and then they just run in with like these mini albums. And it's basically like if the western rockers like brought back EPs and made it like the default thing as opposed to singles, which they love now. And American music industry ites sure love their exact specific definition of single, as in a single song. Almost always a single song from another project that's upcoming. So I thought it was always fun, the mini album thing, and they really they really went for it because they did all these different albums or all these different mini albums, and they are listed as EPs on Spotify and Apple Music. And as much as that kind of feels like it feeds into that indie vibe, I think we got to go with mini album, because that is how they list it on their website. So Kate no Jijo, I would say so the songs that I really kind of dug on that was IE, and 10 to 10. I'll just say right now that in general, I think for the first 3 mini albums, a lot of it ran together for me. And I started dropping off after that. Like I would watch the PVs, but I wouldn't listen to the mini albums. And that might have been a tactical error, because literally from the 4th mini album on, stuff starts getting more varied and like engaging for somebody like me, who it's hard to listen to soft K music, constantly in a row without it feeling like it runs together. It stopped doing that and just started being like, ooh, what is that? That's interesting. What is that? So I would say I regret it, but it's like the other thing was there was a bajillion different bands coming out with stuff at the same time. And so it was like, well, all the PVs stopped coming out, three EPs. I'm kind of getting the vibe. I seem to like the PVs, mainly the PV tracks, and now the PV tracks stopped coming out. I have no idea where they went. So let me know in the comments or in chat, by the way, if you were one of these people that just got completely lost on Yeti. Because I've had this one burning a hole in the back of my pocket for a while, this topic. I'm just kind of waiting for the right opportunity to be able to talk about this. And, then we... as we've gotten more and more viewers, we got some requests, and so some of the people that requested this, and they're in the chat right now. I was like, oh wow, of all bands, here we go. Let's see if I missed something serious, and it turns out I missed some seriously good stuff. So Yeah, this is the track list for this, by the way. So I liked 10 to 10 and EA. I think Door Door was okay. I saw Ghoul in chat really likes EA and Picasso. I thought the PV for Picasso was like a very cool aesthetic. So, um, all right, now let's. If I can get rid of that. Oh, that shows up. That's no fun. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I won't. It won't break the illusion too much. Now we're gonna go to the second album. Pew. Uh, so this is Sansei no Hantai. Hantai. Sansei no Hantai. And so this was the PV track with Monochrome um, on it. I liked a lot of these. A, 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 a good deal of these tracks. Again, like even though like I have the problem where it runs together, like the soft K music kind of runs together. I kind of treat that more as my problem than like anything than like their problem or their music's problem, because it's like if I pick any of those soft K songs individually and listen to them, I will be like, this is objectively good. So there is like a really high baseline, not a literal baseline, but there's like a really high baseline of like good standard soft K for all of this. So like imagine just going through this discography, like, well, at the very least I'm guaranteed to hear some quality, mesmerizing, relaxing, soft rock, soft K music. So I think that's an important thing to mention. I like let's jump over here. I liked let's see. I liked Hands. I liked Cheese. I liked the song Cheese a lot. He is definitely singing hi cheese in there. He is saying hi to some cheese, and that is hilarious to me. And I I I don't have words. I just enjoy the fact that he likes cheese a lot. Apparently, let me see if I can. I may play a couple clips of some of these so that I make sure I have the right ones. I just don't want it to come up on the screen. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. High cheese. High cheese. High cheese. High cheese. And then I also liked Home quite a lot. Um, so those were kind of my picks from that if I had to like make picks. Yes, cheese, literal cheese, and you can hear him in English or English like singing like high cheese, and it's like it's actually like a really well structured song. They've like got these like echoing like guitar like electric guitar plucking and stuff like that. It's a really good song. It's just it's called Cheese and it's about cheese. So yeah, they do that sometimes. Um, but okay, let's uh, let's move on to the next one. So this is going to be the third mini album. This is Saito Toshio. So this is the PV track from this that you would recognize is Loop, and Loop was a banger track, for at least for Yeti, but it had like it just had like a banger like guitar hook and or guitar riffs, and then it would switch out of that and into like this really soft singing and backed by like more of that plucking, like this intricate like electric guitar kind of plucking sound that they would use that's like very echoey. um, it's really that was always like one that I really liked. um, Actually, I think um, yeah, I think that's our yeah that's the one I'm using right now for the if I test the donation, I think the donation thing. If you want to super chat us, send us a message. That's one of the gifts you can actually pick. Is it looks like this on screen, but that's the that picks from the Loop PV. So, uh, but yeah, that was a cool PV. Purple paint was involved. Really good camera work was involved. Um, Cheese is my favorite. I love it so much. Yeah, well, I, I'm seeing like a lot of overlapping personality traits, Gula. I think I understand why you like this. You like this band so much. You guys just have a lot in common. Um, you like cheese. You're probably gonna like. You probably both like Cats. We'll get to Cats. Um, but the other two songs I wanted to recommend from this album that really stood out to me were Postman and Suki. And I can switch over to here. Let's see. So Postman is, I want to say, it's just very soft and again very like emotional, but it's like emotionally played guitar. I don't actually know how to describe it that well, but it's like it's a very soft and gentle song. There's a lot of reverb. I'm skipping through the track right now to refresh my memory. And yeah, that one just really caught me in a trance, I think. Suki was interesting because it was quite jazzy. It was jazzy and very lean in terms of like the overall sound. It was like soft jazz K, something like that. So I quite enjoyed that. Um, so yeah, like I got decent enjoyment out of this. It's just sometimes like some of these albums, these lighter albums, like I said, it's not ever gonna be something that I'm like super hooked into. But then we get into this fourth album, which is Honeto Tatemai, and or this fourth mini album, and I was listening to everything on this album or on this mini album. Yeah, I think the only one I left out was Arrows, just because it didn't stick out to me, and the rest of them leapt out at me personally. But I mean, music was another was probably one of their last PVs that like really grabbed like a lot of decent views. I think. Um, yeah, and it had like that. It had like this that catchy like I was gonna go an octave. I should go an octave lower so I don't crack my voice. Just like it has that really catchy oh, and then it goes into this really catchy song. And again, the instrumentation just like gets better and better, and it's like they're doing like really intricate sounding like bass lines and like more of the plucking guitar and a lot of stuff like that. And so that one was really cool. It was just really chill. If was just a ballad that like really got stuck in my head, which doesn't happen very often. So I I wanted to go off of. Oh, I got distracted by chat. What? Try to pronounce them. I just noticed the background, like it. Um, your your T's. Try to pronounce them like the Spanish T. Um. Oh, it's like tarde. I need more of a t in my T, I guess, when I do my. Is that for the Japanese pronunciation, or you just don't like how I talk now? It could be either, I'm guessing. But um, yeah, if just kind of, again, like, this doesn't happen to me a lot. Like, it's a soft ballad that like got stuck in my head. So again, a lot of mind mesmerizing going on in this, this listen through that I had of this discography. Einstein was similar but catchier and a little bit faster. A lot of it's really impressive how they kind of take, and I think I'm seeing it more. I think it started here the most. Like, it became the most noticeable. Like, I think like the first 3 mini albums, probably due to them just being an indie band figuring things out. The music was technically very flat all around in terms of production. Like, but when I think from the 4th mini album on, like, you start to feel the instrumentation, like the different instruments start blurring together, and then like the ambient sounds, the very subtle ambient sounds in the background, like started to increase and then blur together with the rock instruments. And it's all very subtle, it's very lilting, it's very hesitant. But it all kind of happens and comes together. And so by the time you get to the 4th mini album, that's that's where I got like fully hooked personally. So that's kind of why, I guess that's kind of why. So like someone like me would get hooked from that point. Okay, to fix my Japanese. Okay, yeah. Take it easy, Asuka. Thanks for stopping by. Have fun on the plane. Don't worry, you can watch the recording. I don't recommend you let yourself get ripped off for airplane Wi-Fi just to watch VKH live. Don't worry. Don't do that to yourself. But yeah. All right. Now it's time to talk about Cats. Cats is a great song. First of all, first thing I did was I sent this to Shiro, our news article writer. Yeah, I'm still in a Yeti trance right now. First thing I did was I sent this track to Shiro when I heard it, because it was like, it's this jazz. It's so her. It's this jazzy, upbeat. It's not even jazz. It's like rumble, like that old like dance. Is it called dance rumble? Or fever music, with like the fever, like the drumming and stuff like that. But he's singing, and it's really jazzy. It's really well done. It's actually like scary well done, because they didn't do this a lot leading up to this. But then they jump into the chorus and he's like, Neko, 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 and just singing about cats. I think there's parts where he actually sings cat in English. No. Oh, that's what I remember. He meows at the end of the chorus, and then a kazoo starts playing. Check out this song. I strongly recommend Cats. Go listen to Cats by Yeti. You're gonna hear a cool jazzy, like you know, a cool jazzy rumble rock number that feels like hyper retro, and then you're gonna hear him singing about Neko Neko in the chorus, and then you're gonna hear him go meow meow, and then you're gonna hear kazoo, and then you are going to be amused. So I recommend that. And then I also liked Every. Why did I like Every? What was Every about? Which one was this? Yeah, Every was another one. Was another one of the ballads that was just kind of like surprisingly like grabbing my attention more than like even the slightly faster pace, like more upbeat songs that they'd been like putting out on their previous albums. It was the slower ones that were pausing and letting you just like kind of sink into it, like sink into the music, that were engaging me more, ironically enough. So, yeah, so that's my thoughts on Hone to Tatemai. Next up, we have Hikari. Hikari. Hikari is like the way that every like American says it. I've seen enough Hikaris to know. Well, is it? I don't know. Someone in chat tell me if it's Hikari or Hikari, because I feel like it should be like Hikari, but I know how certain bands have pronounced it in the past. So while singing it, and that just completely throws me off. This is where things start to get even more interesting, like outright experimentation. And this is like where we've left. Yeti has stopped posting to their Yeti channel official, and they've switched over to Film Stars Inc. And I'm just sitting here lost in the blue because I don't even think we had the 4th mini album up on streaming services at the time, so I had no idea of this existence until recently. So I'm basically just digging up this giant diamond in the rough that Yeti turned into, and I don't think they didn't have to turn into it. I suppose I don't know what could have been done to prevent it. I don't even know what caused the dip in everything. Like, I mean, I can obviously be like, well, you went from this channel that seemed to be like hot to this other channel, and that seemed to stop all your growth. But if it's was like a stipulation in a record deal, anything like that, I don't have any inside information on that. I don't feel particularly inclined to speculate. All I can speculate is that it kind of sucks, because when a band, like, if you look up a band and they have like a bunch of views on like older music videos and then like newer music videos, it's like plummeted, like zeros have dropped off, like they've gone from 6 figures to 4 figures. It's a bad look. It makes it look like they've lost their touch. So when I actually initially found them and I saw the low view counts, I was like, oh, what happened here? What happened here? Did they lose it? But actually they never lost it at all. They've just been consistently, I would say, sweetening the quality of their sound, slowly being really slow and mature about adding like experimentation into things, like experimenting with new genres. It's like an instrumentation first approach to it, but you hear it more and more with each release if you marathon their discography. So I would say for this mini album, yeah, this mini album is definitely one of those. Oops, let me. Oh, did I not have it up, or did I close it? History. Uh-oh. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. You saw nothing. Where is Hikari? I could have sworn Hikari was here. Welp, we are, all right, plan B, I guess. It's uglier, and that's why I wasn't using it, but, I don't know what to tell you, but, apparently, in the time that I have, I gotta look at this. Apparently, in the time that I've been streaming, only just now, Yeti's artist page has fixed itself so that it's no longer mixed in with all the other Yeti stuff. Like all the other tracks by Yeti artists. Like there's other. Yeti is a very common artist name, so it's doing the thing on Spotify where it mixes in with. I'm sorry, this is throwing me way off. I've never seen this happen on Spotify before. I was on here earlier and I had specifically like opened up all these tabs because I came down here and it was like, this is a Yeti album by Yeti from Japan, but then there was like all these other Yeti artists that were like rappers and pop singers and, you know, American bands and stuff like that. So that's crazy. What the hell? That's, well, okay. I don't know what's going on, but I guess I can just grab Apple Music. I just wanted a track list. Guys, go check Yeti's profile page and see if it's like how it is here on Apple Music, because it was like this on Apple Music, and I thought it was like this on Spotify too. Unless I'm all mixed up right now. So, oh Jesus, don't. Right next to the one that's going to get me flagged for nudity. Awesome. Hey, random YouTube moderator, that was album art. There was no butt being shown. There was no boobs being shown. Don't nuke my stream. Thank you. It was in Apple. It was in the Apple store. You conspire with them to decide what's safe and not safe. You know it's okay. So don't kill my stream. Please Google. Okay, so I would say I really liked Jisai, or 11, Roman numeral 11 Sai. I thought it was like an even more mature take on like past songs that were just really heavy with instrumentation and using like clever instrumentation to and really impassioned like clean vocals and falsetto in the chorus to just like kind of really grab you and convey an emotion. It was like very positive, very wholesome, very heartfelt. That's it. Very heartfelt. What else on here? Uso was really interesting to me as well. The chorus for that was a little bit more in the ballpark, I guess, of what you would expect from like a light, like a Plastic Tree for example. But at this point, I had listened to so much of their music that was now different for me. Like that was now breaking up, like counting as a change of pace, like as like something different from like their because they'd carved out such this distinctly unique brand of like this soft K, and it's like it's totally like pulling out the rug from under me, because like the first 3 mini albums I'm like, all right, this is nice, I can kind of zone out to this, and then it starts morphing into something that I can't stop listening to, and it's kind of fascinating. So I think Yeti may have given me some kind of like positivity PTSD because I'm having trouble describing this properly. I feel like I'm ranting like a crazy person, but it's like I'm not complaining about anything. I'm just like trying to explain, what the like where the hell this came from. So then the last 2 songs that I thought were stood out in particular were Highlight, which I believe it was dealing with, it had, so this is where things get interesting for Yeti, in that they start bringing in like some electronic music, some bass beats, some claps. Interesting. It's interesting, It's always dangerous. It's always dangerous when it happens, because you don't know if you're just going to cheapen and ruin your sound with it if you overuse it. But they walk the line really well. I think they know how to use it very well. All the really nice blending that they've done with their like just with the production of like their more ambient background music, and then like the distortion effects that they'd spent mini album after mini album after mini album like perfecting and refining and stuff like that. Like I think it all paid off by the time they finally got around to using some more recognizable pop beats and stuff. They just used it like any other instrument. So that's Highlight in a nutshell. And then Limiter was like really caught me off guard, because this was like a rocking, like I don't know, it was like a rocking kind of badass vibe sound, like a hard rock or like a punk rock kind of sound, but with like straight up dubstep, like low, like quietly like screeching in the background. And they pulled it off at the same time. So I don't think it's like it's good for a permanent edition for Yeti, but I think it's kind of funny that they basically pulled it off, and it feels like they pulled it off like I could picture them in like a tiny coffee bar with like a guest DJ showing up with like one of the tiny turntables and just putting his little tiny EDM sound into it, and yet they've somehow still figured out a way to make it mesh. But like that's the vibe I would get from it, is it's like it feels like a crossover jam session. So yeah. I'm gonna try and wrap this up the rest of the way. So we're almost there. So next is we're looking at Antithes, which was their first full album. So after 5 consecutive mini albums, they put out a full album, which I never thought I'd see the day. So that's crazy. But here's the thing. It was worth the wait, because the album is really, really good. There's a lot of like variety and experimentation. It was super engaging for someone like me. So but it struck a balance, I think, that like was maybe missing in like Hikari. Like if Hane to Tatemai was like, it was more experimental, but it wasn't. It almost wasn't experimental enough. And then if Hikari was like maybe a little too experimental in some tracks, like I don't know if Yeti fans were torn on Limiter, for example, or if they cared. Like, because I thought it sounded fine, but it definitely seemed kind of out of left field. Antithees, just in general, seemed to strike a much better balance of of blending like old Yeti with new Yeti, of basically blending this logo on the right on the left with this logo on the right here, if you will. So I would recommend out of this, I believe my recommended tracks. I won't go track by track for this one because I will be listening back through this anyway. But I would recommend. Oh, where did my notes go? Oh, there we go. Tetsugaku, Hello, Scissors, Shinrin, Shinrin ni Seisoku Suru, 151A, and Maru Toboku. The Maru Toboku is the one. I guess if you had the version with kanji, it's the one with the two like big circle shape text characters and then some kanji. It looks weird. Like it looks like symbols. I think the Maru is like it's being symbolized by that. I don't even. It's like some random ass like just like empty circle with that you would like type if you like held down Alt Shift Command Escape and pressed like 727 or something like that. So those would be the ones I would recommend. They're all different. I think they're all fairly different. There is a lot of variety. The ones, at least, especially the ones that I'm recommending, I definitely need to like re-listen to this album because I was actually really engaged with it. I feel like they were doing like it was all still soft K, and then they were like morphing the sound back and forth just enough to where I was like super hooked. So like these dudes are out here turning this metalhead adrenaline junkie like into like a soft K addict. And it's not like I had anything against lighter stuff. It's just it's never worked. It rarely works for me. So I'm always fascinated by like what it is that made it work for me. So I'm not actually a metalhead. I've just been on a metal kick. Also, it's kind of a mandatory metal kick because half the industry is metal right now. So kind of had to cover it. Oh no! Don't force me. But and now, to get caught up before we talk about the latest release, Howl came out afterwards. Came out in 2017, in March, and it has a wolf on it. It has a dope ass wolf painting. There's a series of videos on the Yeti's, well, on the Film Stars YouTube channel that became Yeti's new home on YouTube, and it's got so much different like nature footage in it that it's like it gives off the impression you're watching like a Nat Geo music video or something at first. It was very strange. I'm not sure what was. there was some curious decisions made, I feel like, with Yeti. Uh-oh. Did it scroll down? I'm back. Um, as a metalhead, this has encouraged me to try them now. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm getting. I'm glad it's relevant to someone. I wasn't sure if, I don't know, if it would, if anybody else felt the same way. I could just really, I could have just really had just this latent, like dormant, massive bias in favor of of this particular soft K band and only this one. You never know, but. No, but yeah, that's seriously, that's cool. That's good to know. Yeah, you should try them, and all their stuff's on streaming services. I would just you could honestly start from the fourth mini album, but there's enough bangers on the first three to just kind of you listen to the ones that are catchy, and then you're just kind of chilling and relaxing, and maybe spacing out a little bit for the other tracks, because it does kind of run together, but at the same time it's like it's kind of like having like caviar every day sort of thing. Like it's really good soft K. It's fairly similar, except for like the breakout tracks that they would use for like PVs and lyric videos, and then all that starts changing in the fourth mini album and gets better and better and better. Let me go through. I think I just had a few tracks here for Wolf. Let's see. So I had Aun. Yeah, so there's a lot of hard rock experimentation going on in Howl, from what I remember. And that's interesting. That's very interesting. They're keeping the soft K for sure, but with like a song like Aun, which I was very down with, it reminds me of like Yeti's version of like Psycho by Muse. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that song, that I'm gonna make you, I'm gonna break you, I'm gonna make you a fucking psycho. Bam! Copyright struck. But it reminds me of like the soft K version of that, and I like it. Or like that twangy indie electric guitar version of that. I really enjoyed it. And it's been a steady progression up to this point where they've been like adding more and more stuff to their rotation of like what they're putting in their songs on each mini album by the time you get to mini album number 6. And then let's see, I think let me go ahead and switch over here. Oops. Yeah, so I thought Aun was really solid. I think this one throws you for a loop because the PV track is Hoeru, and Hoeru is the really light, soft one, soft PV that's on the Film Stars Inc. YouTube channel that I mentioned a little bit more towards the beginning of the stream. So it's very soft and it's light and it's nice. And then literally the next track is like a hard rock track. And again, like it blends into like a melodic chorus where he's like going all in on falsetto and stuff like that. Like they're just doing stuff that's like really cool. I don't know, in terms of like how they blend their sounds. And it's different and familiar at the same time. So it's like, it's weird to talk about, weird to describe, but it's interesting. Um, Mujiroku really really caught me off guard because uh, it's. Yeah, I'm trying to decide how I would call this. Uh, it like it flitters between almost like a despairing, depressing, epic, sad ballad that you would expect out of a band like the Gazette. But then at the same time, it'll come back to a more hopeful sound. Uh, Not even just in the chorus. It's like it's going back and forth. It felt like it was teetering on the edge. Like, you know, I felt like one moment it was about to turn into like Dim Scene by the Gazette, where it's like really elegant and mournful and beautiful, but really sad, really depressing. Or the next moment, I thought they were going to go full, like, as positive, like, sweet and melodic as Yeti can possibly go. So, yeah, it was that was fascinating. And then I think the last one I had was Straight, the song of my people. That's a joke. That's a joke for Delta if she actually watches this far in the recording. She keeps making jokes about how she's gonna be sending me pics of the D for my live streams for D and Asagi tomorrow. Yeah, she said she's gonna get me some D. It's very amusing. So I may start sending this as a response. Because I think let me see if I find it in the chorus. I want to say he says it in English too. That'd be great if I could get an audio clip for that. I may be confusing that with Cheese though. Either way, what I liked Straight because it was like an acoustic jazz kind of fusion song, and it was very it was very mature, very layered, and it flowed so well at this point that it's like, you know, carrying on from like past experimentations like that. So so yeah, I think that's it. Well, I mean, I know that's it for all their older stuff or their discography up until about 5 days ago, exactly. So yeah, so this is the new album, mini album, excuse me. It's going to be their 7th mini album. It's called Uchujin. And it's, how can I show this? So I have a thank you present for those of you who made it this far in the stream, because I'm assuming those of you that are watching are I'm assuming that those of you that are watching are, you know, you know, appreciators of Yeti, connoisseurs of the Yeti, you might say. Well, that sounds a little weird. You're a part of the Yeti Appreciation Club. So I have an article going up covering the release. Because I saw nobody really posted an update anywhere on the internet in English. So I've gone out of my way to give my best initial translation of the track list, if you guys weren't already aware of what the track list is, because I wasn't, it didn't seem to be available anywhere. So let me grab this and maybe I'm just gonna throw it in a Word document and blow it up. But this will be out tonight anyway. And you can feel free to, you can tag me in the Yeti Discord channel that we have. If you think there's a better translation, or if you're not sure, or basically if you think you have a better translation, but I ran this by a few people in industry. I think we're at a point where I'm just down to only one of these songs is kind of a coin toss in terms of how it's pronounced, or how it's written. So let me... How bad does that show up? Okay, that's good enough, I suppose, right? Yeah, sorry, my UX presentation falls apart a little bit right here, but it is unfortunately not on Spotify. And Spotify's website looks so well with like the rest of the UI that I make. So now we're in Google Docs, but that's okay. So the mini album was called Uchijin. First track is called Rikai Funo. Second track is called Kurao. Just don't penalize me for the pronunciation. I'm doing what nobody else is doing, man. Like, people don't know this band's around. I'm doing what I can to like reach out and reestablish contact, because it appears like the coverage of them is I don't know. Well, you guys tell me in chat if you've noticed anyone covering them. So we've always covered them off and on, but I don't know if someone else at VKH has had their eye locked on Yeti this whole time, but I lost track of them personally. And so, if I lost track of them, like, and I was kind of part of the, the initial, pretty strong interest in them. Like, I don't know. Either way, this might secretly be like the best bet for the English translations right now. So, pretty confident about all of these except for this one. So, Snow is in English, Fantasy is in English, Yurei is number 5. And then there's like 2 different ways to write this. I'm leaning towards this one. I don't have any expertise to base that on. It just seems there's a coin that was flipped. Had to do this with Urugirubero by the Gazette. For those of you who are new to what I'm getting at right now, it's that the fun thing about Japanese kanji is that, and Visual Kei, is that a Visual Kei artist can, if they're making a artistic pun, so to speak, like, for example, the English version might be, like, so you have Ascended Master, and Versailles had the famous single Ascended Master, like that's like cool and whatever to name stuff like that. Okay, like that happens in Japanese all the time, except when you go to translate to Romanji, even like a really experienced translator needs context for whether it would be dead or dead. Yeah, does that make sense? Except it looks a lot different. Except it would read different, things like that. That's what I am told, at least. So, yeah. So hopefully this is informative to you guys. I'll have the article for this out tonight. I'll link it in the description as well, and I'll be caught up on the other articles for tonight as well. So, yeah, so that's Yeti. I think that's about it. Lovely band. Lovely album art. Lovely music. Really interesting, to listen to. especially as it gets later and later. Um, or as it gets later and later, as it gets just as it goes on. They're apparent. I was pleasant. I was not pleasantly well. I guess I was. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Like I didn't know what happened with the film stars thing and everything. And once they I happened to stumble across them like maybe 8 months ago. I started keeping an eye on them a little bit, but now that I finally took a deep dive into them and fully caught up on all their music, I can kind of see the growth is very obvious. So yeah, there you go. Well, we finished way late. The schedule is pretty screwy, I would say, at this point. But I'm gonna go ahead and continue with the rest of the streams, and I put a lot of research effort into this Yeti stream. I wanted to make sure that I could give them their time in the sun. I hope it was enjoyable to those of you who've been following them and are probably, I can only imagine how frustrating it might be for some of you. Especially if you've been following them all these years, and didn't you weren't like randomly distracted like me, and then like they switched YouTube channels and you look back and you're like, where'd they go? And then like you forgot because you're forgetful, and then 2 years later they show back up on your radar. Like if you've been following them all this whole time, this must be very frustrating for you. So also it's an underrated band, and it's a solid band. Yeah, so and if you're new to Yeti, I will be linking in the article. I'll link the article in the description, and in the article I'll have links to their Spotify and Apple Music, where that's probably your best bet for if you want to get the new album at this point, the new mini album, because unless you want to go for a physical copy, in which case we are looking at it's looking like HMV, which is a Japanese website that appears to ship internationally. I think some of the people in the chat actually have ordered it from HMV, so we'll see how that goes. Everything about it checks out from what I've looked into, but in terms of, I guess, the customer service and stuff like that, I guess that would be good to know, but I don't know how much of an option you have with like a small band like this, where if it's not up on streaming, you're in like real trouble. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll continue on shortly with Mamireta and then Kizu, and I'm just gonna keep going and see where we end up. I will give myself maybe like I think I'll just go ahead and push the start time for this stream back, for the next stream back, by like 30 minutes. Give myself 30 minutes to get set up for that, and just kind of maybe just officially change the schedule just so that it's at least there. Yeah. Any questions, class? Not a metalhead, but Yeti is so good. I love that we are talking about them. I still need to get these past albums, but the band is fantastic. It's always relevant to me. Yeah, well, I missed. Yeah, that's why I'm excited to try like doing all of these streams. Very quickly, or like a lot of streams in 1 week. In spite of the fact that I was late this time and going later than I think was the original plan, I think I can pull it off now from what I've been learning and teaching myself. And when I do pull it off, I think it's going to be really cool because I'll just be able to just like hop in, talk about something, you know, and talk about any artist and just any artist, anytime, any place, you know. So that way, like if we're having a conversation and in Discord, someone's chatting and they want to talk about like, you know, like someone brings up like a tiny band, like what's a tiny band that's on Discord actually, that people were talking about, you know, like I know there's some interest in Munona Lucid. There was Gozen Reiji. Yeah, so the idea, ideally where we're headed is that, you know, we're having a conversation. I can throw together like a, you know, like a full blown show and just go for it right there. So hang with me until I work out the scheduling kinks here. I know we've been through this a few times, but this is going to be the one where I think it's going to be a lot more than a gradual improvement. So, but anyway, with all that being said, no questions, Sensei. All right, cool, sweet. I will go ahead and send you on your way, chat. I will put you back in your box. You're free to go. The trapdoor will open momentarily and drop you back out onto the main street of the internet. Thank you for coming. Thank you for shopping at Walmart. Yeah, so thanks to anyone watching in the future. If you liked this, do us a favor and hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. But more importantly, share it with somebody that you know that might be a Yeti fan or into like this level of like indie kind of music. I think this is a nice solid, like a big old diamond in the rough. It would be cool to get this out to as many people as possible, like as many of the fans as possible, just because I'm sure they're, you know, maybe sequestered all over the place, but there's obviously like an interest for this. You know, and I may, and you may or may not enjoy the way that I go about describing Yeti specifically. So in that case, what you are definitely going to want to do is converse with other Yeti fans and share your own points of view on it if you have a different point of view, or if you have more that you would like to add. And the way that you can do that is there's a link in the description for our Discord community. We have channels based on every single different Visual Kei artist you can think of. You can request any that aren't there. The goal is to connect mutual fans together so that they can share interests, maybe become really close friends, but ideally build their own communities based around their own artists, and, you know, maybe one day go off and start their own community. It's working out really well. There's a Yeti channel in there. It's plenty active. So feel free to let me know what you thought of the stream in there. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you shortly for more stuff. More crazy streams. These are going to be very interesting indeed. All the deep thinking. This was the deep thinking one. The rest of the night is going to be interesting. All right, peace out.